Welcome back, everybody. It is time for segment 3 of the What's Good Games podcast. You've been asking, and we've been waiting, and now it's time to talk about all things Life is Strange Before the Storm, episode 2. Awake, I believe is the name of the episode.
Awake.
Here's the thing. If you missed the first Life is Strange Spoilercast, pause this episode. Not yet. Don't pause it yet. Keep listening. First, go back to the episode where we talk about the first Spoilercast. Listen to that, then come back and listen to this. If you have not yet played Life is Strange Before the Storm, we are going to talk about everything here. It's going to be a gigantic spoiler. If you're in for that, like me, if you just do not give an F about spoilers, cool.
No Fs.
But just so you're warned, this is a fair, long warning. There will be lots of spoilers talked about. We will be talking about what happened in the first Life is Strange. We're going to be talking about what happened in both these episodes. We're going to speculate about what's going to happen in episode 3. There is nothing off limits. You have been officially warned.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Okay.
Here we go.
On that note.
So, I'm glad that I played this episode recent.
Yes.
Fresh.
Yes.
Fresh in my mind. So, when we left off with episode 1, Chloe, our angsty teen, had become new BFF with Rachel Amber. She was at a rock concert at a abandoned mill, and Rachel came in and they danced together, and then they played hooky and went on a train ride when they were supposed to be at school, and they got drunk together, and they kind of had some feelings for each other.
Kind of.
And and then Rachel caught her dad making out with some woman and was like, I'm mad about this. And then she lit a photograph on fire, dumped it in a trash can, tipped the trash can over like a very irresponsible person. Don't do that. And then screamed some kind of magical, supernatural scream, and the fire spread everywhere.
All those trees burned down. Aren't you happy,
I'm
Brittany?
so happy. No, that's terrible. Forest fires, IRL forest fires are not funny, and they're not good.
Brittany hates
No.
trees. If
Neither
you listen
is
to the previous
arson,
segment.
which is what that was.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
not good.
absolutely arson.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So we left off. It was a little bit of a cliffhanger. Nothing too serious, but like clearly like there was some kind of major fire. So it picks up and like this forest fire is like raging, and the girls are like, "That was us, LOL," which is bad. And Chloe is having problems because it's discovered that she obviously skipped school. She was already on kind of like her last chance with the principal, Principal Wells, and
He sucks.
he does suck.
Yeah.
But don't almost all principals. Sorry if you're a principal out there. You just get the short end of the stick. It's not your fault.
I'm sure you're not being paid off by like
To
the
all
wealthy student's father. It's fine.
It's true.
To all the
Tell-
principals listening.
To all the principals listening.
if you're a principal,
Oh my
it's
God.
probably like
I
one
snorted.
person.
That was really funny.
So this
Oh
leads
no,
us.
Steimer! No,
No!
Sorry, it's just late.
it is late.
So this leads us to our first choice that you can make.
Yes. Oh, so you got the
Yes.
choices
I
pulled
got
up.
the choices pulled
Okay.
up.
So we're in the office. We're getting reprimanded. Our mom is there. Joyce is there. Rachel Amber is there with her parents, who we've now met for the first time. And, you're getting kind of, verbally slapped around by the principal. And the first choice is,
Can you take so you're sitting down with Rachel, and the principal's like, whose idea? Well, he's getting ready to reprimand Chloe, right? And Rachel's like, it's my idea. So then at that point, you have the option. Do you take the blame for Rachel, or do you go along with Rachel's story and let her accept the blame?
And when
Alexa.
she's accepting the blame, or like, because she initially takes it from you,
Yes.
Yeah.
regardless of what you do,
Right.
and then the principal's basically like, "You can't be in the play."
So there are two options. There are two parts to this choice. You can initially choose to go along with Rachel taking the blame, or you can take it for yourself. And then at the end of this little exchange you have one final choice to agree to let Rachel take the blame, or go, you know what? Fuck it. It wasn't her idea. It was my idea, and flip it all back. And obviously if you flip flop, it
turns into a backtalk
yeah,
thing.
it turns into a backtalk thing, and it's this big thing. I initially went along with her, and then at the last second I felt really bad, and I was like, nope, can't do it.
Andrea.
Can't do it.
Same with me, Alexa.
I took the blame.
I let Rachel take the blame. So 78% took the blame for Rachel. 22% went along with Rachel's story. So what I was expecting was Rachel to be like, I had nothing to do with this. Chloe forced me to leave, and that
She was putting on her best
She's
actress
British now?
right?
she's British. Is that even British? I don't know what that is.
I don't know. You're
So
doing weird accent.
I do that a lot. So I wasn't sure like who is Rachel? Is she gonna put the blame all on Chloe? But then when she took the blame for Chloe, I'm like, okay, Rachel knows what she's doing. She's like a very intelligent person. If this is the route she wants to go, this is the route I will go with. And that's why I decided to go along with her story.
But I'm curious how that changed the later section because you do go to the play.
You do go to the play. So then there's a scene with Victoria Chase because Rachel Amber does get kicked off of the play, and Victoria Chase is offered Rachel's role. And the way my sequence played out was that Rachel had to come back to backstage of the play, I think to clear out her locker or do something for Victoria. And Rachel and Chloe go back there. And we're all congratulating, God, what's her name? I just spaced. Victoria on like, hey, you know, this sucks for us, but we're really happy for you. Like,
Well, that's a choice.
that's a choice. And this is the way I played it out, is I congratulated her. I was like, hey, good for you. You're doing good. This sucks for us. But you know what? Because you walk in and she's really nervous and you hear her talking to herself. And so you can be a bitch and be like, haha, you suck. Or you can be like, hey, I'm going to encourage you. So I encouraged her. And while Chloe was encouraging her, Rachel went to her makeup mirror, grabbed her tea, slipped some pills in there, and offers it to Victoria. And is like, hey, have some tea. You need this for your voice. Victoria drinks it. Victoria passes out. Rachel gets the lead anyway.
Yeah.
Well, that was so
Oh,
that
so they
there was a
flip it
choice.
then.
Yeah, there was a choice there.
There were
too.
choices there. Yeah.
You had the option to, as Chloe, tell Victoria, oh, you're going to do a bad job, like convince her to not go on stage. And if Victoria, you can succeed and make Victoria decide, I can't do this, I'm not going on stage, and then Rachel will go on without poisoning her tea. If you fail in any way to persuade Victoria to not go on stage, Rachel poisons her tea. Yeah.
But then if you took the blame in the principal's office, like Alexa and I did, when you go there, it's Victoria trying to poison Rachel.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I never.
And so
it
you can-
It didn't occur to me that you guys were talking about Rachel poisoning Victoria, because I was in the scenario with Steimer where Victoria was trying to poison Rachel's tea, and I saved Rachel from that.
Oh, yeah. It's flipped.
Yeah.
If it. Yeah. Let's see.
Interesting. It's
Moving on. Ooh.
No. Here we go. So, on that note, 17% discouraged Victoria from acting in the play. 13% encouraged Victoria before the play. 36% confronted Victoria. 34% tricked Victoria before the play. If you go down that
I
road.
tricked her.
I tricked.
I
her
tricked
too.
her into drinking her own poisoned tea, and then she was like, "She's on drugs."
That's hilarious.
And it was like amazing. I laughed so hard.
I just don't like Victoria as a character, but I thought it was interesting, you know, looking the whole dynamic between Rachel and Chloe and how they're still like figuring out what their relationship is, how close they are. I mean, because they were fast friends, and obviously we talked about in the last spoiler cast how when you are that age as young women, you do become fast friends with people. And like I don't doubt for a second that any kind of intimacy they felt, whether it was platonic or romantic, was real, and like they had a connection. But to get so close so quickly, especially getting like the parents involved, was an interesting dynamic. Now, I do love how they did the play, and I did not see Chloe being roped in as a character as like this element that came along with it. But I did guess immediately that once Rachel was like, oh, this girl can't make it, can you step in? Here are your lines. I was like, damn it, I know I'm going to have to memorize. There's definitely going to be a mini game where I have to remember what these lines are.
How did you do?
Did you cheat like I did, Andrea? Where I just took screenshots of I just like took pictures with my phone of the script.
No, Steimer,
I did it too. I
You're
totally
dirty,
did that too.
dirty cheaters.
I don't care.
Cheaters.
I have the picture
Fight
still
me.
right
I
here.
don't care.
I have a lot of the Tempest's bigger scenes memorized because I directed it once upon a time long ago and I studied Shakespeare. But I intentionally screwed up the lines because if you screw up the lines, you are treated to the best scene in the entire game,
Ooh,
which
dang it.
is which is Rachel and Chloe improvising the words. And Chloe starts to ask Rachel questions in the same Shakespearean dialogue. Like, I think the line from Prospero is something about like, and you are in my servitude, and like you are my spirit. And Chloe, as the spirit Ariel, is like, well, what if I don't want to be your servant anymore? What if I want to I want to go? And Rachel is like, but you are, and she's speaking in like a Shakespearean like language, but she's making up the words.
But you get the improv scene even if you nail the lines.
You do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, never
you do.
mind. I love that improv scene like so much.
It was
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, it was
But
really
it's slightly
well done.
it's slightly different in the way it kicks off, in that
Yes.
you say your line properly and then Rachel starts going off.
And Chloe's like, oh crap, this is not in the script.
Yeah,
and then
the way
Chloe's
that
like, oh god, what?
the way that I did it is like I was screwing up, and then the director backstage and Nathan were like, those aren't the lines, she's screwing up, and they're all backstage like getting really 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 angry. And then finally Rachel starts that whole speech, and like the director melts into this puddle of like, she's a genius, which is like, so it's cute.
It is cute.
It's cute.
It's adorable.
It is adorable.
So after the play is over, and the whole time I was thinking, we kind of skipped
We
over
did.
something, and it's important to go back. So we completely skipped over the complete interaction with Chloe and Frank. So Frank had messaged Chloe and was like, hey, I need your help with something. I need to collect. Drew comes back into play. This is the bully that she had confronted in the previous episode, Mikey's older brother. Mikey, of course, one of the kids that played the D&D game with her. And Frank calls her up essentially and is like, hey, like, I need your help with this. I need to collect this from this kid. He owes me $1,000. He has apparently been dealing oxy to the football players on school campus, which is like horrifying to think about, like high school age kids, like, you know, buying oxy. Like, that's a nightmare. And so Frank is like, I need you to help me collect it because you can get into the dorms. And then Chloe's like, LOL, I got expelled. Which is something we also didn't talk about, the dynamic with Chloe and David and Joyce and her getting expelled, even though I'm glad we jumped to the play because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you know, we should, you know, take a step back and talk about these two individual scenes. So one of the things, let's start with Chloe's interaction with Joyce and David kind of in the parking lot. So she gets this really kind of devastating news, right? That David is saying, you've kind of fucked up for the last time. I can't believe that you would get expelled. That's it. I'm moving in because your mom needs some help disciplining you, essentially. Is kind of like a little bit of what the verbiage is implying there. And the thing that kept striking me is that I was so angry the whole time of how mean Chloe is to Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
And how Chloe, I think, forgets that Joyce lost her husband just like Chloe lost her father, right? Like, they both are hurting. They both are in a place of grief, and that they both have experienced this profound loss. And that clearly Chloe's, you know, emotional adolescence and also physical adolescence are impairing her ability to see that and to see how much Joyce needs Chloe and needs to cling to somebody who's familiar and who she loves and who is steady in her life. And Chloe just keeps rejecting it. And so Joyce has clearly gone to seek this affection from somebody else, and she's not getting it from Chloe. And she's gone to David, and now she's trying to bring David into the fold, and Chloe is pushing back. And it just like broke my heart, like hearing some of Joyce's dialogue lines about in the text messages.
Oh.
Yeah, the text messages are brutal.
From Joyce saying, I miss you. Where are you? Please come
I
home.
want my daughter
I want my
back.
daughter back.
Just like, I was fucking dying, you guys. It was so sad.
It was really sad. And that leads us to our other choice. You have a choice at one point to start over with David. Did you decide to start over with David?
I did.
No.
No?
I
Simon.
don't think it was the Chloe choice, but I was like, damn it, Chloe, you're not going to fucking hurt your mom one more time. You're going to start over.
Right. Steiner.
That's kind of what I was doing too. Yeah, I had her in the parking lot. I played her as obediently as you could only because I just couldn't take like watching Joyce like go
So
through any more
sad.
pain.
Well,
It's really
the
shitty.
thing about the parking lot scene, like when David asks you to empty your pockets,
Right.
there's a possibility, depending on your choices in the previous episode, that you have weed in your pockets.
I did.
I had weed.
And if you put your weed out, it's like this big thing. And I knew I had the weed in my pocket, so I declined to empty my pockets.
I also did not empty my pockets.
Okay, so 76% of people decided to start over with David,
Oh, wow.
and 63% emptied their pockets at his request. So I emptied my pockets and I had the weed in there, and I got a text message from my mom. She's like, I don't like that he had you empty your pockets, but you did have weed in there, so there we go. And she's like, I do appreciate that you're
Yeah.
forthcoming about it, essentially is what she said. And I was like, okay, that's a good, healthy step for mother-daughter relationship.
It sounds like you guys are playing this as a Chloe who like is trying to start over. I'm playing her as like burn it all down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can see both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both make sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting, and then obviously, you know, we kind of know where the dynamic with David goes. If you've played Life is Strange, it doesn't go to a great place. So, I just like she's just so angsty and so mean, especially to Joyce. Like I get the like rejection of the new man because it's really pretty soon. It's only been like a year to 2 years after her father has died, and like to have like a new like father figure brought in, like that seems way too fast for me. Having divorced parents and having my parents have, you know, significant others in their lives growing up, like obviously everyone's experience is different, but like it's hard like trying to understand who these people are, and especially when you are dealing with that grief yourself. So it's going to be interesting to see how that relationship unfolds in the next episode. But I want to skip ahead after that scene to Chloe going on this errand with Frank to the dorms. Quick sidebar. How fucking cute is Pompadour?
Oh
my God.
Pompadour.
God.
Frank's whole RV, like if you take the time to explore his RV, like if you look in his fridge, it's all steak.
Yeah.
And if you look in his cabinets,
It's all
it's all
beans.
beans. And if you look on his computer, his Google history is like, will dog eat steak? How old will dog eat steak?
It's so
Can you
cute.
make a dog eat steak? And I'm like, oh my God.
And then
fucking Frank.
there's like a comment thread, right, where he's like, does anyone know, did you read that?
Yeah, it's like a forum. It's like, does anyone know if my dog will eat steak?
Yeah, and then this like in true
Yeah.
internet fashion, this lady like accuses him of like abusing his dog just because the dog won't eat steak or something ridiculous
It's so
like that.
funny. It's like,
It's very on the nose. I love it.
it's like, yes, like,
Yeah.
so good.
The beans thing though, like I like that the like because in the original Life is Strange, there's like a scene in the diner where he's eting a plate of beans.
Those were my beans.
Those are
I
my
know.
beans. I was like, this is I
crack.
I
throwback.
was eating those beans. It's so good. It's so good. Frank loves beans.
So you go on this errand with Frank to go to Blackwell, and you go to the campus, to the dorms, to try to break into Drew's room to see if you can steal this money back from him. And so you have this little interaction with the groundskeeper
Samuel.
again. And he kind of says a couple profound things, and then there's a couple other people, you know, that you can interact with, but you eventually, you know, get into the dorms. You find Drew's room, and then you, of course, can look around at everything in the room. Yes.
There's a
Alexa, right?
choice that you make as you're interacting with the people on the grounds.
Did you tell Steph that Rachel was single?
No, I told her
No.
she was taken.
84%
Mine.
said she. Oh yeah, 84,
Back off, B.
Yep. 84% did the same thing. They're like, nope, back off.
I was like, oh, nah, not on my watch.
I think I chose the I don't know what we are yet answer.
That wasn't an option.
Oh no, I'm in it to
Sis.
win it.
What was the answer? What were the questions?
You told Steph that Rachel was single was 16%. You didn't tell Steph that Rachel was single 84%.
I didn't tell her that she was single.
Dun, dun, dun.
Maybe I
because she's
did.
not.
I don't remember. Honestly,
Her
that's
and
one choice
F.
that's a little blurry for me.
Yeah.
So inside the room, there's also additional choices. So you can obviously snoop around quite a bit in his room, go through his emails and things like that. You see, so there's like a mechanic where you have to like, you know, pick the lock to get into his trunk, where obviously that's where the money is hidden. You have to figure out what the code is by putting some clues together. And then of course, like you knew what was happening.
Oh yeah, I was so clinched.
You get caught red-handed by Mikey, his little brother, but Drew is like right behind him, and then it's like all the way awkward town.
And then it escalates real quick.
Really quickly.
Well, yeah, Drew's like, it's okay, I don't even care. Like, let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
And then that I forgot his name. That dealer comes
Damon.
and like
Damon, yeah.
beats him up.
So this is another big choice.
Yeah.
I chose. Actually, read the choice options, Britt.
Okay, you gave Damon the money. You stayed with Mikey.
I stayed with Mikey.
So
I gave Damon the money.
so did I.
I
And
intervened.
this was my concern because
Timer?
I stayed with Mikey.
if you search around Drew's room, you find out that he's received multiple scholarship options. And, you know, if you're going to be a professional athlete or at least go on that road, you need to have a healthy body. So when I heard Damon kicking the crap out of Drew, I'm like, crap. And you also learn that his dad is jobless and possibly homeless.
But you also
that
saw
Mikey is
that
living with you.
You also saw that he turned down a scholarship offer.
He did. He turned it down to Oregon, and I think he signed with OSU, one or the other. I was like, okay, this kid, like, his dad's homeless. I'm sure, like, he's trying his best to, like, make money for the family, become, like, a professional and do good. So when I heard Damon kicking the crap out of him, I was like, you need your body. Sorry, Mikey. I'm sure this will affect you negatively. And it did. But it all turned out okay in the end. So if you stay in with Mikey, I'm not sure what happens because I did not go that route.
If you stay with Mikey, Damon beats the crap out of Drew and then leaves. And when you open the door, Drew has to go to, like, his leg is fucked up and he has to go to the hospital. And that girl, Steph, like, Mikey calls her and she takes him to the hospital with Mikey and he has to go into immediate surgery.
Oh, shit.
You're texting with Steph later that night and she's like, he's in surgery.
So if you decide to break it up, you get out there, you give Damon the money.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, here's the money. Frank sent me. Leave him alone. Goodbye. And then the guy like threatens him or like spits some words, and then he accidentally does something where Mikey gets hit, and then Mikey's arm gets broken, and Steph then also takes him to the hospital. But like, there's no surgery. It's like they put him in like a sling or a cast. Or
You get
whatever.
texts and she's like, you know, it's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. And then Drew
Yeah.
texts you later, and he doesn't seem too butthurt. He's like, I know you were just trying to help.
Both Mikey and Steph text you like Steph texts you like a thank you for looking out for Mikey, and like Mikey's
so-
like thank you. So
Either way,
it goes a little bit better for, I mean, not really because Drew gets his leg broken, but like it seems like the less shitty option is staying with Mikey, like Drew asked.
I
you
don't
to.
know. I would think that having Mikey take the fall is better because Mikey isn't the one who needs the scholarship. Like having a football
Wow.
player get his leg broken.
Ice cold.
It is
That's
kind of
it.
ice cold because
It's
Drew is
true.
like a
It's
drug
fine.
dealing teen, and like you should get what's coming to you. You shouldn't be dealing drugs on a high school campus or
Yeah,
ever.
what's wrong with you kids?
yeah,
monster?
he was raising the money for his dad, right?
Like I get that his
Yeah.
his like intentions were noble, but like that's like it's fucked, right? It's bad.
Yeah.
It's all the way bad.
Like Mikey doesn't need his arm.
And this is what Life is Strange does great, and really why Deck 9 should be commended for picking up the torch that Don't Nod started, to say like, hey, we're gonna give you some really tough decisions. We're gonna make some situations
They're tougher, I think.
that are, I think they are too,
They're much, much tougher than the original Life is Strange. Way tougher.
and say we're gonna really make you feel conflicted. I thought it was really interesting when I changed, because when you finish the game, you can change the statistics from global to friends, and a lot of the choices for me were 100% or 0.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
I either was with all of my friends or I was against all of my friends.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
Yeah. So whereas obviously the global choices are split on all of the choices, but I thought
For
that was
this one,
fascinating.
like I think I was a little confused at first as to like what would happen if you went into the hallway, because I didn't know if the Damon guy like was really with Frank or like if it's like a step, like I was like, what is happening? So that's why I stayed in the room. Hearing what you guys said, I'm like, oh, I probably should. Like, knowing both sides of it, I would have gone out and like given him the money. But at the time, I was just so scared of fucking it up with Frank that I was motivated to stay in the room and do what Drew told me to do.
Man.
But then I still have the money because I didn't give it to Frank either, and I was like, "What the hell?"
I gave it to Drew as he was like laying on the ground. I was
didn't
like,
give
I
it-
tried to
I
take
s-
this from
I
you.
kept
Here
the
you go.
money.
You can have
This will
it.
cover my surgery.
So then this brings us to the play.
Mm-hmm.
So after the play, there are two more major choices of the game. The first one
Before
being
the twist.
the one that everyone wants to talk about, that I'm sure we all made the same decision for.
Oh, yeah.
Are
the
you
kiss?
sure?
Did you kiss Rachel?
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah,
Yes.
I did.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the stats here.
Bet everyone's.
I'm sure it's like 100%.
It was like a real. So I got a like little like when I played it, I got a little packet thing from the developer that like explained stuff, and I went back and I read it after I played the game. And apparently, in order to get the opportunity to choose that kiss, it's a compilation of a lot of small choices you have made through episode 1 and episode 2. So getting that choice is 2 episodes in the making, and you have to like have made all of the right choices in order to have that option. So a lot of players will play Life is Strange and not even get that option.
Oh, you're missing out.
Dun, dun, dun.
It is so that's like a hardcore makeout smooch.
It's
Like a
pretty intense.
smoochy smooch.
All right.
It was real good.
73% asked Rachel for a kiss. 14% asked Rachel for a tattoo, and 13% asked her for her bracelet.
Interesting.
Oh god, there
Is
goes
That
it
smooch
because
is totally
so
worth it.
would it only have the other options there?
Yeah,
if
it would
you
just be
didn't- okay.
bracelet or tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
And they say they're like both of these also have meaningful consequences and meaningful responses, but everyone wants that damn kiss.
Oh yeah. Have you seen Rachel Amber?
It's true.
She's
It is
pretty
so
cute.
Pretty hot.
After that, there comes a scene where Rachel's like, let's run away. Let's finally be gone. Let's just go, which seems like too soon. Like they just met.
But it's that time of the night.
It
Anything is
is.
possible.
The best time of the night.
But in keeping with the Shakespeare theme, it's very Romeo and Juliet.
it is
That's very true.
Romeo and Juliet. And so they go to her house so she can get a bag to like make their escape, right? Because they're just like, we're out. And then her parents are up and they're eating dinner. Like I thought the clock said they were eating dinner at like 10:30
Dude,
or
I
11
noticed
o'clock
that
at
too.
night.
I was like,
Yeah, man. Who eats dinner that late? Spain?
Well, they
Us,
just
we're
said
gonna
a
eat
play.
dinner that
Oh,
late tonight.
yeah,
yeah, we
same
are gonna eat dinner that
But
late
we're
tonight.
adults. Like if you're in high school,
Oh my
like,
god, it's almost
like your parents
know,
aren't
right?
going to
That's
be
what we're gonna
making
do. Oh,
dinner for
shit.
you.
no, Summer, I
Right?
noticed that too. She did have the play, and they were at the play, so they're probably having a very late dinner.
Yeah, but not
Yeah.
a school play. You don't eat dinner at like 11 o'clock. Well, okay, if you do, you're
I
going
mean-
you're going to like Denny's, right? Or someplace like that. You're not like making chicken a la king or whatever the fuck she was making, right?
Yeah, she was making chicken a la king.
I
But
love
Alexa,
it.
as
Okay,
the
wait.
other theater
Okay.
person here,
Go ahead.
what I actually liked was that they did
Excuse
sort
me,
of
I'm also
capture
a
that
theater
like
person.
feeling of elation after you're done. Like I liked
Yes.
the moment where she's like going on the street, and I'm like, I totally did that when I was in high school, and we just finished a play, and you just felt like you're king of the fucking world, and like everything was great.
it was really
So I
cute. I liked it.
Where did you tell Rachel you would go? On a road trip to New York to LA?
LA.
I said New York.
Los Angeles.
I said New York because I know she said she wanted to go to New York.
We're pretty like Brit. You and I have chosen the same almost across the board.
And
here.
you and me, Stymie.
Yeah.
42% said LA, 25% said New York, 33% said a road trip.
Aw.
She said that she wanted to go to New York.
Oh,
That's why I picked New York.
it's a fine. Every choice
So-
is fine.
So you're having dinner. You interact with her weirdo father who doesn't understand jokes.
Creepy
dad.
cheeky McDad.
Her
guy.
parents don't understand jokes, and it's like Chloe's just like, "Hey, I'm Chloe,"
awkward.
and they're like, "Excuse me," like they don't understand. They don't
Much as
understand
the
any of her
sarcasm.
jokes. Any of her jokes. And I'm like, oh, Chloe, no. And there's no music playing. The background is just like the ticking of the
clock, yep.
clock and like the boiling of like the pot. And I'm just like, this is awful. So you help the mother set the table, and you're sitting at the table with Rachel and her parents, and you have the opportunity to like antagonize via dialogue and via like, I guess, talking about like activities and politics or whatever. You have the opportunity to antagonize Mr. Amber. And at the end of that, and that the major choice for that is like go along with is like call him out immediately on like what you've seen him doing, or turn his wife and daughter against him. And I chose the latter, which immediately enters a back talk. So you are like antagonizing him and trying to like say things that bait him into saying things that his wife will not agree with. And I succeeded. And at the end of the conversation, his wife was like, how dare you talk to our guests that way? It's awful. And he like blows up and is just like, I don't, whatever. And like he's yelling, and Chloe is yelling, and the mother is yelling, and they're all yelling. And Rachel is sitting very, very quietly, very, very quietly. And the sounds start to dim out around her. And then she like stands up and like chews him out and is like, I saw you kissing that woman.
Yeah.
So did any of you do the other option?
So I stayed quiet, or like I was super polite, putting everything away. I made very little interaction with the dad because like I just wanted to try and play this as smoothly as I could.
Rachel says
can go
we
up and
just
talk
have
to
to
him.
get through dinner. She's
Yeah.
like, we just have to get through dinner, and then we're
That's
out.
what I was. That was my goal. Like just get through dinner.
Did you?
And
so you
I'm,
didn't
like,
confront him
super
when you
fake
talked to
polite.
him over the newspaper.
I did not.
You don't, I mean, I don't think confronting is an option.
It is.
But I just tried to chat with him, and he was like, I don't follow. And I'm like, oh, fine.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
you later, buddy.
But and then at the table when we were actually like sitting down again, I was like trying to calm Rachel down. I was trying to diffuse the situation.
Same.
But it doesn't work, and like there's still that moment where everything goes quiet, and then Rachel just flips out and like breaks something.
Yeah, because the dad's going on and on about some PR bullshit, and then she just says, oh, fucking blow me. And
Yeah.
Chloe's like, if you want to diffuse the situation, you as Chloe can like throw a spoon and be like, oh, ha, I'm so clumsy. And then Rachel's like, Chloe, stop it.
Yeah.
And then shit hits the fan. 73% of people attacked James at dinner. Rachel, sorry. For 73% of people, Rachel attacked James at dinner. 27% of people attacked James at dinner. And I'm assuming that's after Rachel says, oh, blow me.
Yeah.
And then you can like step up and be like, this is what she's talking about.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I took a step back because, as you mentioned, Steimer, Rachel like specifically asks you like to like not do anything stupid. She's
Yeah.
like, we just like let's just do this dinner and then we'll be on our merry way. So I tried to keep it cool, but the whole interaction was just like I completely forgot that he was like a cheating asshole until the dialogue option came up in the conversation I was having with him while he was sitting reading a newspaper. Also, who the fuck drinks sherry by itself?
Right?
You don't drink sherry? That's gross. Sherry?
And their fancy little
cook
fancy
with
glasses.
sherry.
The triangle glasses.
The triangle
Oh,
glasses.
you mean the martini glass?
the triangle
Oh my
glasses
gosh.
that weren't shaped like triangles at all. So who the
Jeez.
fuck are they talking about?
Oh, man. And
I
this is
was
where everything
confused
kind
with
of
the triangle
blows up,
glass. I was
right?
like, what?
Yeah, everything blows up, and then we get the big plot bomb of this episode, which is that the woman that Daddy Amber was smooching
Dun dun dun.
Is
That
Rachel.
also was in Frank's trailer, which
that
we
was
forgot to
also
mention.
in Frank's
At the
trailer
play.
after the play at the play is Rachel's biological mother.
So what the dad says, which I thought was kind of a hint, or maybe not, is Rachel's like, I saw you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, honey, whatever you saw, you just have to trust me. It's not what you think it is. So did you guys see the file on the cabinet, or was the fireplace
Yeah.
or something? So she is underneath. It goes Damon, Frank, then she is under
I
Frank.
forgot her name already.
Sarah. And so at first I'm like, oh, he's a crooked whatever DA, right? Is that what he is?
Yeah, a DA.
DA. And
District
he
attorney.
met her through all the shenanigans, and now he's trying to get a piece. Or I'm like, is he going undercover? But how
DAs
could
don't
he?
go
He
undercover.
couldn't go undercover. You're right. I forgot. Never mind. That blows all of that out the window. I just now realized that.
I just like I definitely didn't see those files. I didn't see it coming that she was Rachel's biological mother. Here's the thing that I'm still mad about. I don't care if it's Rachel's biological mother, you don't be smooching another woman when you're
Right.
married.
Right.
That's the point. Yeah, it's like it's okay. It's your mom, and I'm like, wait a minute, but you're married to her, so like I don't care. Like that, you don't get a free pass just because you had a kid with someone.
Right. And this is why they ended on what they did. Is because now we're like, this makes absolutely no sense. Now we talk about it.
Are you looking up stuff on fandom?
No, I'm making sure I have all my notes together for my crazy theory.
Okay.
Oh, perfect.
All right. Well, we
definitely.
definitely need to wrap this episode up before we hit the 3-hour mark. I'm sorry, you guys. So
You
Alexa,
missed me. I'm back. It's a
we
special,
did miss you.
It's a special day.
Let's go into crazy fan territory.
So I do want to point out there are a lot of little clues in a lot of places that you might not look in this game, but I wanted to point out the name of Rachel and her mother.
Okay.
They both have Hebrew names.
Okay.
Sarah means princess or like ruler, and Rachel means ewe, which is a female, like a young like female sheep.
Okay.
Like a follower.
Not like an ew gross.
like an ewe. And I sort of and Rachel, the way that Rachel's mother carries herself and the way that all these characters are sort of like treating her with these kid gloves, and that the way that Chloe and some people around her treat her with kid gloves. I have this theory with Rachel's mother, and Rachel will follow in her mother's footsteps. So Rachel is destined to sort of go down the same weird path as her mother. Anyway, so my theory, if you listened to our first spoiler cast, I had this big crazy theory involving the use of the Tempest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it still holds. Like I've changed it a little bit, but a lot of it still holds. Now that we've seen the Tempest play out, we can pile on top of it. So as you guys know, the Tempest, the way I saw it is Rachel is playing Prospero, and Prospero is a mover and shaker, and he makes all of the things happen around him. He's the pot stirrer. He is orchestrating all of the action. And I said that is a symbol of Rachel. Rachel is in the center of the action, and she is the person stirring up all these events. She stirs up, she brings Chloe into her fold. She maybe has these powers that create the storm, and maybe it's her powers that pass on to Max. I'm changing that theory.
Okay.
Based on the second episode. So Chloe has been having these weird prophetic dreams for she had a bunch in the first episode, and she had one in this episode where she's sitting next to her father and they're roasting marshmallows over the wreck of his car where he died.
Mm-hmm.
And as she sits there, he starts talking to her about fire. And he says to her, "You're so drawn to it, you don't even see the danger. Fire blinds us just like darkness, but darkness blinds us with absence, with loss. You can see that darkness as sort of Chloe's depression in the wake of her father's death and her mother moving on." And Chloe asks him, "What does fire blind us with?" And William says, her father, "Beauty. But sometimes there's a great beauty yet to come. Fire is jealous, Chloe. It wants all the beauty for itself. That's why you need to be careful." And she says, "Careful of what?" And he says, "Of getting burned." If you remember, in her last dream, in the first episode, Rachel walks up to the car, puts her hands on the glass, and immediately bursts into flame. So Rachel is the fire.
Yeah, that's right.
Rachel, he is warning her.
Really?
William is warning her
About Rachel.
What
about the Raven in there?
I'm getting to the Raven.
Okay. I'm like, Alexa, tell me everything.
So in a way, like if you go and you read her diaries to Max in the pod screen, it's very clear that Chloe used to see her mother to an extent, and Max especially, as her safe haven. So she is looking for a safe haven. So she is drawn to Rachel because she wants to be safe, and she finds that kind of safety and self-validation in other people. But Rachel is not as safe. She's plagued by feelings of betrayal, and she wants to run away and find a new life. And she's sort of dragging Chloe with her. And Chloe is entranced by her charm and her convictions. So that fire metaphor, and then the fire metaphor is also a symbol in the Tempest. So the Tempest, the lore of life is strange. Rachel, fire. Rachel is a dangerous being. And what happens in the events of the original Life is Strange and whatever happens in the last episode, it is, I believe, of Rachel's doing. Rachel is the danger in these games.
She causes her own demise, are you insinuating?
I think she causes a lot more than her own demise. I think she also causes Chloe's eventual demise. depending on the choice you made at the original Life is Strange. At the end of the original Life is Strange, you have a choice. You can run away with Chloe and escape the storm in her truck and drive away from Arcadia Bay, or you can go back in time to witnessing Chloe be shot by Nathan and let Chloe die. And Chloe tells you, just let me die, it'll fix this. So the perfect ending in which everything is okay again and the storm is gone is if Chloe dies. So I'm getting there.
Okay.
We see Ariel in The Tempest portrayed in Blackwell's performance as a raven. And the raven has been showing up in all of Chloe's dreams with her father. A raven in many cultures is a sign of ill omen, of like something bad is coming, something bad is coming. By putting Chloe in the guise of the raven, I think that's a pretty strong indication that she is not the bad thing that's coming, but she is the herald of the bad thing that's coming. She and the bad thing have sort of arrived in the same space together. Her arriving at that concert and crossing paths with Rachel Amber was the beginning of something. And she is the bringer of bad tidings. She, depending on how you play her, is like weird to her soon-to-be stepfather and her mother. She steps in. She can defend or continue to bully Nathan. She sort of manipulate her backtalk. Her power is convincing people to do something or to not do something, to get her way or to not get her way. So she's the bringer of all of that energy. And the only constant between Rachel and Max is Chloe. And Chloe being the bringer of ill tidings and basically the harbinger of destruction. She's not the destruction, but she is the harbinger of destruction. I do not think that Rachel has those powers on her own. I think Chloe is some sort of being that delivers the powers to someone else.
She's like a carrier host.
She's a carrier host because she's in the center of the action. And if you play the original Life is Strange and you let Chloe die, you go back in time, you let her die, the storm goes away. I mean, Rachel's still dead. The storm goes away, nothing happens, and you attend Chloe's funeral. And for the first time in the entire game, the sky is just awash with light. It's like this beautiful sunset. There's a butterfly flying by. Like there's the most color in the scene in Chloe's funeral than there is in any other scene in the original Life is Strange. So by Chloe dying, all of this weird power passing and all of this kookiness is gone.
Fuck.
So I think she is in the center of all of this. And that kind of explains why Before the Storm was centered around her. There's also, because Chloe obviously will survive the events of Before the Storm, and she has had her hands in the destinies of a couple of other people. One person, noticeably Nathan Prescott. And if you are paying attention, I actually saw a really well put together video about this on YouTube, and I hadn't thought about this before I saw this, but if you look at the way that Nathan carries himself, he's always like, he's always wearing long jackets. He's completely covered. He holds himself inward. He has bad relationships with other men. He's only really comfortable around women. If you talk to Dana in the Vortex Club at the end of the first game and you're like, stay away from Nathan, she's like, Nathan needs help. And if in Before the Storm, second episode, you witness his father talking to him saying, you will not embarrass me. You will not embarrass me. I think Nathan was sexually abused by his father. And Chloe, I think in the third episode, Chloe has some sort of interaction with him and something, because he is in The Tempest, he's playing Caliban, which is the spirit subdued by Prospero. So he is living in the shadow of Rachel. Rachel is what Nathan wants to be. He wants to be free and he wants to be strong, and he can't be because of all these things that have happened to him. And he's this, you have options in The Tempest, or in the second episode, when you see him talking to his father, you can intervene and like call his father out, or you can sort of dogpile on Nathan a little bit more. And there are two different options. Nathan can come on stage, forget his lines and cry and start crying and just forget everything. Or he'll come out strong and acting really, really strong. And I think what will happen in episode 3 is there will be some sort of interaction, some major pivotal scene involving Chloe and Rachel and Nathan, or just Chloe and Nathan, that will set him down the path of the person that he becomes in the original Life is Strange. And if their interaction plays a giant role in this, and then Chloe dies at the beginning of the original Life is Strange, she moves on, and then life moves on without her. That's sort of like none of that stuff, maybe none of that stuff in the dark room would have happened. It's all a ripple effect. maybe Nathan sort of by killing Chloe is like, oh shit, I fucked up. I killed someone. I can't do this whacked out shit anymore. And maybe that causes him to like turn over a new leaf or something. So I think the third episode is going to be Chloe, the giver of power, passing on this storm power to Rachel, and then also setting Nathan down the path that he will go down in the original game. But I think it's Chloe giving out this power. I don't think it's Rachel, and then it passes on to Chloe, and then it passes on to Max. I think it has something to do with Chloe because she's the only constant, and she's the Raven. She is the harbinger of doom.
Damn, girl.
Right?
That was amazing. I
did
think I said this exact same thing after your last like analogy. But
But Alexa, I'm curious, like the teacher needs to come into play next episode, don't you think?
I think so.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. I think we will see Mr. Jefferson. Because he's so important to Nathan's role in the story. If you listen
Ultimate
to Mr. Jefferson's,
creepster.
in his dialogue in the original game, when he's talking to Max, when Max is tied up in the dark room, he says that he became a sort of father figure to Nathan. So maybe Jefferson became that father, that actual fatherly figure that his father number was, or maybe like Jefferson starts sexually abusing him too. I really think that I really think that she's in the center of all this like bad shit, and I have to applaud Deck 9 for digging into things and presenting things that are in like uncomfortable situations and like people struggling in a way that's actually really thoughtful and isn't used for like shock value or like emotional gut punches. It's just like, here's our story and here are things that people struggle with and here are things that happen. So thank you, Deck 9. I think you're doing a really great job, but I think it's Chloe. And I think maybe in episode 3, Chloe might realize at some point that this might be her fault, that she might be in the center of something.
I think we have to get Zach
Do you
Garris
think-
here.
Yeah.
I think I gotta call him up and be like, Zach, can you please come by?
Wasn't he the one who loved the analogy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Chris.
Oh, that was
He
Chris.
was the game director. So I had the opportunity to work with both Zach and Chris throughout the summer, hosting various panels with them. But Zach Garris, the lead writer of the writing staff at Deck 9, and Chris Priest, I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry, Chris, is a co-game director. Steimer, you were about to say.
I was going to say this actually could tie into one of the things I actually disliked about Chloe in Life is Strange is how much she pushed Max to use these powers. But if like what you're saying is true, Alexa, and she knows that she's kind of like she is the reason for some of this stuff happening, it would make more sense that she'd be like, wait, hold on, like let's see what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like keep going.
And
Chris Floyd.
also,
That was his name. Chris
when-
Floyd. My bad.
when Max reveals her powers to Chloe accepts them pretty
Real fast.
readily, pretty quickly. So I think Chloe has some idea that maybe it might be her. And that's also like in parallel to like she is the point of contention in her family or her newly expanding family. And them just trying to make a better life for her. She is the point of contention among her friend groups because she's bouncing between this like drug dealer and this person. Like she could be a good person, she could be a bad person, but it's her.
Dang.
So that's what I think this is. I actually am really excited. I get to sit down with the developers at some point early next month.
Ooh.
And I really hope they listen to this before I do it because I want to know what you think. I spent a lot of time on this.
It was amazing.
I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but it's kooky and it's sad to play this episode knowing that Rachel like will die. Like she'll
It's-
never
Yeah.
see anything.
It's really like getting to know Rachel has been like bittersweet. Doesn't even feel like it does it justice.
Mm-mm.
Of a word, and kind of really learning like who she is and seeing how we're just starting to peel back the layers of who she is as a character, and seeing how much Chloe is really just falling head over heels for her. I mean, if you've chosen to play it as a romantic relationship, which I have to imagine the vast majority of people have, it's really tragic, and it's really fucking kind of a gut punch knowing like not only does she just die, but she dies a really fucking tragic, like horrible death.
Yeah.
You know, and that just makes it even harder to know like how are we going to transition now from episode 3 into what happens in episode
Ooh.
1,
Unless-
you know?
Unless they retcon the entire thing and they do something where there's a choice in the 3rd episode where you can save her, and then the timeline gets shifted all over again.
You think that they could do that
That'd be
though?
weird. I
Well,
don't
then
think
it
they could do
turns
that.
into like multiple universe theory, which I don't
wouldn't
think.
be the weirdest thing that Life is
No,
Strange
that's
has
true.
It wouldn't be
touched
the
on.
weirdest
True.
thing, but I don't know if the developers want to get into it.
But yeah, it's tragic because you go to the junkyard so many times, and,
And you
to know-
walk over the spot where
you-
she's
we-
buried,
right?
And, it's
And
like,
to know that like that's where you're gonna, it's just.
I was more sad when they're like, we're going to run away together. And there was definitely a part of me who's like, if I can just do the dinner correctly, if I can just do this, like
Same
maybe
here, Steimer.
we can
Yeah.
get the car and go and everything will be fine. She won't end up dead in a fucking junkyard.
Well,
No.
But no.
alternate universes.
Yeah.
and that concludes our 3-hour podcast.
That did
Oh
not disappoint,
my
Alexa Ray.
gosh.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Alexa Ray.
That's
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging with us. We know it's been a long one, but we hope that you had a great time sticking with us. Please don't forget to check out all of the content that we have going on. We have our horror Let's Play on our Facebook page. We've got cool content on youtube.com/whatsgoodgames. We are doing fun stuff on social media. Miss Brittany Brombacher always posting stuff. And of course, we have lots more content coming for you for the rest of the year. And we hope that you guys choose to be part of it. And don't forget, if you guys are looking to rep some What's Good Games in your wardrobe,
shit.
we've got a merch store. We are partnered with Teespring. You guys can check out all the information on what kind of apparel and stuff you can buy on our website, whatsgoodgames.com. And then there's a merch store button. So thank you so much for hanging with us this week. Let us know your thoughts on the Life is Strange Spoilercast and everything else we chatted about. Reach out to us. You can always hit us up at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. That's going to be it for this week. We hope you guys play some games and have a lovely weekend. Mwah. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.